Hello, mindfulness class. So I hope you are or did enjoy the snow day. Because we've had 2 snow days, I don't want to get too far behind, but I also don't want to take up, class time to catch up. So I'm making this video so you all can follow along in your own time. You can come back to it for reference so you can have a nice resource for searching for your journal articles for your projects. Okay, so um, today I'm just going to talk about how you can go about doing that, and I'll show you the process step by step. I did create lecture slides for you, so you can find those in Blackboard. And you'll see the searching for sources lecture there in PDF form. It looks like this. And so you'll see that we'll go, or at least I give a step-by-step of exactly what I'm going to do today. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Put this away because we don't need it. And let's get rid of this as well. And now you all saw a picture of Deadpool on my computer. So first off, you want to start with going to the Stockton University Library, okay? And I've provided that web address to you. And so you can go about searching for articles in several different ways, okay? One of them is directly through the library. You can do this on or off campus. If you're off campus, you'll see through this demonstration as I'm off campus that they will prompt you for the your username and your password and all that fun stuff. And that way the library knows it's you and it will give you access to all sorts of articles and things that it pays for. Okay. Because these journal articles typically aren't open source, they're not free. All right. So if you want to search for articles, and if you're searching either for a specific title or you're searching for specific keywords, this is one way to go. What you'll do is you can either search in this first search bar here, and the library will search all of its content, okay? I usually try to narrow down the focus. Since you're searching specifically for 3 journal articles, you should select this articles tab, okay? And so you can do the general search here, but I recommend you go to this advanced search right here, okay? And so what happens is you can either return to the basic search up here, or you can start searching in more detail. You can search for various keywords, like you can do mindfulness, you can put police, and you can add any rows that you like. Maybe you know the author's name, Bayer, last name Bayer. You can add all of these various things to try and find an article that maybe narrows it down to being mindful, having to do with police, and specifically if you know maybe the author. Okay. And again, you can change these fields to reflect that. If you know the title, the journal that it's in, stuff like that. Okay. You can just leave it in the all fields category, and it'll search all the fields. It'll just try and pull mindfulness from the title, from the, content, wherever. Okay, you can restrict the search if you want something that was within the last 5 years or 3 years or whatever it is. If not, it'll just search everything that it can. Okay, you can also choose the content type. So what that means is it will specifically look for maybe just something in book chapters or book reviews. This is where this comes in handy. I would select like journal or journal article in particular. That way it only searches for the journal article that you're like a journal article you're looking for. Okay, it's not going to look for other kinds of things like dissertations or thesis, data sets, etc. Okay, it'll look for only what you need. And you can either you choose any of the disciplines or change that if you wanted to narrow it down to psychology, maybe criminal justice, things like that. But I usually leave the discipline unchecked. Okay. Other things you can do, you can limit it to the scholarly materials, so only peer-reviewed stuff, which is what you should do, right? You can also limit it to items with full text only. In other words, they will provide you with a PDF of it at the end of the day. Sometimes they'll link stuff for you, but we don't have access to it. But that's okay. You can actually request that, and I'll show you how to do that towards the end of this, okay? And you can exclude stuff, newspaper articles, book reviews, dissertations, stuff that wouldn't be pertinent to your search, right? Anyways, that's how you do it. You click search, right? And give it some time, it's thinking here. You might want to choose search terms, more search terms to narrow down your search, because then it gives you a whopping 1,547 things, right? So now I've got all these different journal articles. As you can see here, it says journal articles that tell me something about, give me articles related to mindfulness and the police, right? So I've got Dark Innocence, retraining police with mindfulness practices to age and squelch an implicit bias. Some ideas out there for you all. So that's how you do a more refined search, a more advanced search through the library, okay? And you can also search for very specific kinds of publications. So for instance, let's use this as an example. In your Christopher et al. Paper that you all read last week, or the week before that, I should say, this was the one that looked at cortisol and other stress-related factors for law enforcement officers doing a mindfulness-based intervention. And so in this, if you scroll down to the methods section, which I believe is where I want it, is right here. If maybe you were looking for a scale that you could use to measure whether or not people were mindful or not, this article, for instance, uses this 5-facet mindfulness questionnaire, FFMQ. It was created by Bayer and colleagues in 2006. That's why they have a last name there. They're citing the people who created this scale. Okay, so you can go to, oh, that's zoomed in. You can go to that citation, which is this one right here. And this one's not APA format, just by the way. And you can copy and paste this title using self-report assessment, methods to explore facets of mindfulness, to try and find the article, and the article will then give you the items that you need to conduct your study. So let's go back to our search here, right? Typing in the title, you can narrow that down to title if you want. You could just search it generally, and let's do a search, not excluding too much stuff. And boom, there it is. Journal article available online, right? Using self-report assessment methods to explore facets of mindfulness, Bayer et al. This was in 2006, so you know it's the right one. You know it's the thing you're looking for. You can select the title. Again, when you're off campus, you have to enter your credentials, so do that. And now it usually, what'll happen is a couple of things can happen. It might take you directly to the thing you're looking for, or it might do what it just did right now and kind of pop you in the general area, okay? And so that can be kind of confusing. What I recommend you do is look back and say, okay, it was in volume 13, issue 1 in 2006. It's now your job to kind of go find 2006, right? And ooh, I already forgot. Volume 13, issue 1, right? Volume 13. And now you have to find it. So sometimes it does this. Sometimes it's a little bit more easy than that, okay? And I'll show you some other examples. You'll see a different example in my PowerPoint in the PDF online that looks at like a criminal justice article that shows you a different kind of way that you can click on it, okay? So now it shows this kind of unlock button. So because we're logged into the Stockton Library, we can probably download this. So I would just click on this little PDF guy right here. Always look for like a PDF download button, and boom, we've got the article we're looking for, right? So now they're going to describe how they developed their scale. They'll provide items for it, hopefully somewhere, maybe here. These look like the items. So you'll have to read through the article and see what it is that they did and understand the 5 facets of mindfulness. Sometimes at the end they give all the items, but it looks like they probably just described them. Okay, so then you just download it, your usual things, right? Download the article, boom, you've got it. Okay, so let's put that away. Ooh, there we go. Okay, so Now, let me show you all. Um, Now we're on, I believe, slide 4, if you're following along in the PDF. We are going to show you, or I'm going to show you how to search using PsycInfo. Okay, so PsycInfo is a database that's run by APA, the American Psychological Association, and they add articles and basically contain a repository of or maintain a repository of articles that are psych related. Okay, and so sometimes it's nice to use a more narrowed down um, um, database just in case you're searching through the general search bar here and it's spitting out a lot of different stuff that might not even be related. So you can always go this route. So what you'll do is on the main page of the library, you will click on A to Z databases, either here or here, okay? Then you'll go to P, or you can scroll down if you want, and you find PsycInfo. Okay, here it is right here. Again, at this point, if you're not logged in, it will ask you to log in, and then it will take you to this page. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And again, it's the same thing. You can do, this is the more advanced search. You can change the field like before, give the title, author, whatever. If you're looking for a very specific article and you know it, you can add more search bars, so you can add as many keywords as you want. And just another handy tip, these and or nots are useful because if you say, let's say you want an article that has mindfulness and police in it, that means that it's going to search for any article that has the term mindfulness and police, okay? Whereas you might broaden your search if you use or. You can say, it can say mindfulness or it can say police. And so it's going to broaden your search to either police or mindfulness related things. Okay. So just be careful with that. And is usually the default. The not is going to tell you, like maybe you're trying to differentiate between mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. That's what you want, but you don't want mindfulness-based stress reduction. Okay. So then you would say, I want this, but not that. Right. So anyways, okay. So we're here. We're at PsycInfo, and there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out here just to help guide your way. So let's get, I probably still had that copied, but let's copy that and paste it, right? Get rid of that period, and let's search for our same article, right? So we've got a couple of results that came out of that. Sometimes it will give you similar results just in case it maybe didn't pop up with what you wanted. Okay, so there are a couple of things going on here. If you're following along, this is now page 6 of the PDF. Okay, at this, I told you all about the search bar, all that fun stuff. When you get the search results, it gives you a couple of things. First off, it will tell you the type of publication, which is right here. It'll say academic journal. In your PDF, you'll see a couple of different examples like dissertation, thesis, or book. Okay, so you know you want to look for an academic journal. Now you can still use other resources like book chapters and things like that, but your main job is to look for those 3 articles first, and then you can kind of talk about book chapters and things like that in your final presentation. Okay, so this tells you it's an academic journal. That means it's probably peer reviewed. Okay, so that's one thing you can look at. Here, it will either give you this link to full text, or it'll say PDF full text with a little PDF symbol. Okay, and so that's how you can get to the journal article. So let's click on that, right? Let's see what happens when we do. And it happened again. Sometimes it'll take you right to the page and describe the article for you. And you'll see an example of this on page 7 of the PDF. That link check for full text sometimes takes to a page that looks like this, and you'll see a little button that says download PDF, but here we have to search for it again. Remember, 2006, issue 1, and then it unlocks all of these things, and there it is again, right? And so it'll give us the PDF. Okay, so there's that fun, handy dandy little thing, same way to get to the same thing. Other things that it does, which I think is a handy function, is there's this time-cited in database button, okay? If you click on that, it will take you to other publications like books, academic journals, lots of academic journals, that cite that publication. In other words, these people right here, Laurent et al. In 2016, cited this article that we were looking for because they probably used it as the scale. They used the scale that was created. And if you notice here, you can see PDF full text is another example of, oh, hey, you've got access to this now. All right, so if you click on it, it's talking about patients with multiple sclerosis and something about mindfulness, and it'll take you directly to this screen, which will hopefully populate a PDF of that particular journal article. Okay, so you've got that. Okay, let me go back. Oh, there we go. Let's get back to where we were. Okay, so here are search results, right? Here's the article we were looking for. So the reason that's helpful, this time cited in database, is because it allows you to look at other articles that are kind of similar, right? And so maybe you can look for articles that are similar, or at least cited this article, and might lead you down a good path. You can kind of explore that. Don't get too lost in these though. That's like 1,000 search results. I've gotten lost down this rabbit hole before. So try and maybe put your idea on a sticky note, slap it on your computer, and go back to it every once in a while to remind yourself what the heck you're looking for, right? Okay, so those are some things. Other things that are helpful when you're searching PsycInfo, if you click on the title, you get way more detail about the article that you're looking for, or the article that you're interested in. Okay, gives you the author's names, the source, so it's in this journal called Assessment. It can tell you, it gives you the abstract, so you can read that abstract here. It's nice to read the abstract first because that gives you a good hint as to whether or not that journal article is relevant to you. And also it tells you if it's a journal article here with document type. That's always helpful. Okay, so this is a nice summary page. Other things it tells you, you can do a couple other things here. One of the things I note is it gives you all this citation information. So this is stuff you need for APA style reference pages. So you're going to need this information. You're going to need to provide a reference list for both assignments. Okay. Quick hint, I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit. So on page 10 of your PDF, you'll see this. This is the tip for fast reference. If you want to cite in APA format, you can use the cite button, but with caution. Okay, so if you click on the cite button, this new thing pops up. All right, and so you scroll down and you go and find the American Psychological Association APA. Okay, and so it says references here, ignore that. You'll want to copy this over. Okay, this is all the information you need for your APA format citation. Now, it usually provides this information, which is nice. So the way you cite an APA format is, it kind of depends, but it's usually the author's last name in order, and it's their last name with their initials, and then the year, the title of the article, and I already see a problem with this, the journal article's name, assessment, italicized with a comma after it, the volume number, that's also italicized, the issue number in parentheses, you usually don't need to report that. I'll tell you more about that in a second. And the page range, okay, it's from 27 to 45. And then you provide a DOI, okay, the DOI is also located down here, Digital Object Identifier. Okay, so there are problems with this already. This is not APA format. The order in which it is APA, but there are some nuances. This is why don't just copy and paste. I will catch it. I will dock off points. Make sure it is APA format. Let me tell you what's going on here. So the author information, the year is all fine. The title is a bit wrong. You're not supposed to capitalize words in the title except for the first word and except for proper nouns. Okay, so self-report is not a proper noun. Assessment, methods, explore, facets, mindfulness, all of that, they're not proper nouns. They shouldn't be capitalized. Using is the only word in this example that should be capitalized. Okay. You don't have to report the issue number, this number in parentheses. If you do, make sure you do across all of your references. If you leave it out across all of your references. Okay. And that's it. That's the only other thing that's wrong about this. Okay, so be wary of this function. It's really helpful, but it can also be the end of you. Okay, so use your resources for APA, like Purdue OWL, to check, to double check, because I am picky. I've read so much APA over the years. I know what should be capitalized, what shouldn't, what should be italicized, what shouldn't. Okay. Reach out if you have questions. So that's my spiel. One other thing I wanted to point out here while we are talking about this is, again, you get this, a couple of things here. You get the cited references. This provides all the things that it cites. Okay, so this paper cites other people, right? You can look at all those citations by clicking on this. So you could find other things that people cite, which is kind of handy. It gives you the time cited in this database. Again, we did that, right? Over 1,000 entries. You can also use this find similar results button to do a kind of quick and dirty search for stuff that's related to this article. And what it kind of does is pop in the abstract basically. So it kind of cheats a little bit. And it searches for it, and it's supposed to give you something that's similar, right? So a lot of these look like 5-facet mindfulness questionnaire. This one's a Swedish version, which is important. And this one talks about why some of the subscales aren't, important, right? So it's all related back to this FFMQ scale. Okay, so just another fun fact. Those are other things that you can find there. So you've got everything you need. My tip to you is, as you find articles, start to create a reference page. Open up Word, start to copy and paste using that cite function, right? And fix it up. And you can easily just create it in 2 shakes. Okay, right? So I've got my Word document. I do this all the time, but I fix my references, right? So do that. You all know how to copy and paste. I just want to show you what happens when you do Control V. Make sure you get all that formatting out. So do the keep text only paste option. So then it's only the text. And that way, remember, if you do that, you need to italicize a couple of things, and you need to fix some of this stuff, right? And you keep going on. Okay, so that's the end of my spiel. Let's not save that. Don't care about that. Okay, so let me try and do one last thing here. Let's say we're going to do a new search, and let's say mindfulness, and let's do police. Why not? If I can't find one right away, I'll use one of my examples here. So a lot of these look like they have a link to full text. That's not helping me. So what I'm going to show you next is, let's say you're searching for something and the library doesn't have it right away. Okay, so oops. So let's say there's a book chapter. I have no shame. Yes, this is something I've worked on and co-authored. And let's say we can't find this article. So this should work. Hopefully we'll see what happens. Okay. So let's say you're looking for something, you're like, oh, this looks interesting. Looks like it's written by some cool persons, right? And you link to full text. Okay. So sometimes this happens. Sometimes you get the links, right? You've got this link to full text. It's in this book, actually. Or you might get this dissertation link to full text. And so sometimes this happens. You've got a page that says, oh, you were looking for this. Too bad it's not here, right? It can ask you to search for Google Scholar, which you can do, but you're not going to find it. We'll get back to that. What you want to do then is request it from another library. And keep in mind, this takes up to a couple of days. It's not like the fastest turnaround, but it's pretty darn quick. So don't be procrastinating looking for articles at the last minute, because then when you can't find one, you won't be able to find it, right? Like if it's the night before, you're not going to get that document until a couple of days later. Okay, so procrastination, no go. Click on this request from another library button. Oh, there we go. And so it will have you log in again. This is the Interlibrary Loan Services through Stockton University's library. Okay, so same username, password you usually do, log into it. If you have problems, contact the library and they can help you out. Okay, so what's nice about this is it says we can't find this, and it populates some information for you already. So if you just hit the submit button, they most likely will find this information already. I like to be nice and give them a little bit more information. like the page number, it goes to 93. So I put that in there. And they usually, will find it pretty well. And so what it does is it populates the title of the journal, which is a book that's called Advances in Psychology and Law, the year, the inclusive pages, those are required, right? The article title, it popped in the first author here, which is my former mentor, and it always populates some date you don't want it after, like a month from now. Okay, you can also say, like, maybe if you're getting something in Chinese or another like Spanish or something, you can request that you get this in a different language. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And that's it. You just hit submit request, and then it will sit here in your account and you wait for it to come to you. Okay, I bet you I've used this article so many times for this. The library is probably like, why can't you find your PDF? Okay, so that's the magic of searching through PsycInfo. So one last thing I do want to show you is if you go back to the library homepage, to get to that account that I just showed you, that interlibrary loan thing, right, where it took you after you searched for this article that we can't find, you can go to my library account. Okay, this is now just to let you know, page, where are you? 13 of the PDF, okay? So this is where you renew your materials and stuff like that. If you haven't checked out books from the library before, you can review your account, and you go to my interlibrary loan account, okay? It asks you to log in every single darn time. And here it says, hey, you've got something going on here, right? Like this is one of your requests that hasn't been handled right. So I canceled that because we don't need to request that a million times. So now it says outstanding requests. I have no requests. This is where you can request something. So if you have all the information you need, like the name of the journal, the name of the article, the page numbers, and the let's see what it is. Then and all the other information it asks you for, then you can request it just from scratch here. Okay. So for instance, you might want a book chapter, a book. You can also request a book and they'll send it to you. Or you can request an article. Okay, so look familiar, right? You just need to fill in the asterisk, the title of the journal, the year, the inclusive pages, the article title, and what date you don't want it after. And that's it. You submit request, boom, you're good to go. You come through the same portal to pick up the articles that are ready. So I've requested a bajillion different articles. I've requested this one, for instance, recently, and it gives you information about your request and what's going on with it, right? Where they're getting it from. They're waiting for copyright clearance and then people send it to them. And this is how you view your PDF. Okay, so now I have this victim impact statement article, or book chapter, I should say. Okay, so handy dandy, keep it in your back pocket. Okay, so that's searching for all sorts of fun stuff using our library, okay, and in particular PsycInfo. Let's see. Now we are currently on page 16 of the PDF. I'm going to show you Google Scholar. Okay, so you can Google Scholar, or you can type in scholar.google.com. All right, and so, excuse me. Here, it's going to be a little bit more of a general kind of search. Okay, so you can search for, apparently I was looking at head movement and persuasion, Davidio Gartner, who are prejudice researchers, and other people that I've searched for in the past, right? So you can type in all sorts of strings of different search things. So maybe I want body camera Scott Culhane, because that was a former colleague of mine who does police body camera research. Okay, so maybe I'm interested in some of his research, right? And so once you search, it gives you this search results, right? So it says about 975 results. You can change the range of the year in which it was published. So you can look for more recent publications and things like that. Okay, you can sort it by the date or relevance. You can include any of these kinds of things. You can create an alert for yourself. So they're a little bit more limiting in terms of having options to search for, but still a useful tool nonetheless. I particularly like it to get a quick citation out of them. So let's say you were looking like, you found, this article, right? It will give you a couple of options. It'll either say PDF, SagePub, and when it does have this PDF icon here, usually the PDF's available. That means you can download it for free. Okay, so here it is. This is a PDF of this paper, right? When it doesn't have it, right, then you're in some trouble. But this is still a good tool. You can use this in conjunction with the libraries tool. And what it'll do is take you to the journal page where this is being stored. Okay, and you have all the information you need, the page range, all that fun stuff. Usually you can most likely find these articles. If you just copy the title into your PsycInfo or wherever, it should be good. Okay, so, and as you see here, if you try, like, you can try to click full article and it won't do anything. It'll say, hey, log in or purchase it, right? And it's like, I'm not going to pay that much for that stuff, and you shouldn't. Okay. So when you're logged into the library and you use Google Scholar, usually more PDFs will pop up because it recognizes that you are with a university that has access to that. Okay. Sometimes it'll say this HTML 10F online or whatever. That's just the publisher. If you click on that, again, takes you to the same place. Here, though, you'll notice what's nice is there's a PDF button now. So again, because it had this link, most likely we have access to this. So you can download the PDF, bing, bang, boom, you've got the article. Okay, it usually gives you like a cover page when you downloaded it and all the citation information you need. Okay, so that's that. Couple of other things on this page. So going back to Google Scholar, couple of nifty things. You can save this article and Google will save it for you. You can click the little quotation button here, and again, it pops up a handy dandy little thing for you to cite. Find APA, copy and paste this. But again, be wary. These things also can be tricky. So I already caught a mistake. It's got all the authors, that's good. The year, that's good. The title is properly capitalized, Public Perceptions of the Justifiable, blah, blah, blah. After colons, you always capitalize the next word in the title. Ferguson is a city. It is a proper noun. You capitalize that. Mistake here, when you put in the journal title, Police Quarterly is where this was published, you should capitalize the main words in the title. So if it's called, the Journal of Social and Personality Science, you would capitalize everything except for like the ands and the thes and stuff. So Police Quarterly, both these should be capitalized. It's not, but it's italicized. So it gives you everything. It doesn't give you the DOI, which goes at the end. You would have to retrieve that, okay? So DOI, you can find it, whoop, right here. It has that DOI thing here, okay? If not, use PsycInfo. You could copy and paste this into PsycInfo. It can get you I lost my train of thought. It can get you more information for the DOIs and stuff. Okay, so let's see. I think I've covered everything I'd wanted to. Oh, one last thing. This for sure will be the last thing. You can look for different versions of the same article. And sometimes they're just found in other pages on the web. So this one's at psychnet.apa.org, which is through the American Psychological Association. So they have a record of it. And again, this might be a place that you can find it, but most likely we don't have access to it. Okay. Another thing you can click on is related articles. So if you're interested in this in particular, you select it, it gives you about 100 related articles. Okay. So maybe things about Ferguson, that pops up a lot. Things about body-worn cameras and stuff like that. Okay, so a couple other handy-dandy things. If you have any other tips that you have found useful that you think you would like to share with the class, feel free to talk about them on Friday or in class when we meet again. Okay. And yeah, if you have questions while you're trying to search, make sure you refer back to the PDF that's posted online and refer back to this video, okay? And of course, if you ever have questions, you can always come to me as well and ask your fellow classmates. All right, so that's it for my tutorial, and I hope you all enjoyed the snow day.